you guys, welcome back to the vlog. As I mentioned in the last reading vlog, we are continuing the knocking off my 25 and 25 series. I'm trying really hard to read all 25 books that I set for myself this year. I was like, did I say that right? And this video is gonna be a little different because I've been using my little spinner wheel on my phone so that I can like decide which books I wanna read. However, there are a few books this time around that I'm like pretty excited to read, and so I decided to pick and choose 2 of them, hopefully, and then the third one will use the spinner wheel. So I don't know what the third one's gonna be yet, but the first one is going to be Secret History by Donna Tartt. I don't know what it is about this book, but first of all, I've always been intimidated by it. Something about fall time, I don't know, dark academia, thriller, it's making me want to read this book. So I picked it up. I actually bought a physical copy, which you guys saw. I decided that I was gonna go for it. I also have these cute little sticky tabs. So a couple of little bits and pieces I've been actually tabbing, which I don't normally annotate my books, but for some reason, again, something about this book has been making me want to, and I'm really excited to get into it. This one, again, has been intimidating me for a really long time because it was published in 1992, and 1, I was nervous that for some reason it would be more difficult for me to read or understand, and 2, I was nervous of being bored. I know that sounds really bad, but I've heard fantastic things about this book, but I want to make sure that I'm going to like not be in a slump. I'm excited for this book. So I actually started it already. I started it this morning and I am on page 51. It's definitely something that I've been wanting to pick up actively. There are some bits and pieces that are a little bit slower, but others that I think that are fast paced. So I think it's gonna kind of go between like pacing wise. The chapters though are extremely long. Chapter 1 was 45 pages. Chapter 2 I think is another 50 something pages. So there are long chapters, but thankfully there are chapter breaks. So despite the fact that I'm on page 51, I'm only on chapter 2. The story so far is basically about our main character. He is in this new college in Vermont and he comes from a family in California. He doesn't really have like the best family life. He goes to the school in Vermont and wants so badly to be a part of this Greek program because he studied Greek for 2 years and really likes the language, wants to continue studying, but the Greek teacher only allows 5 students into his class. Somehow he ends up getting added as like a 6th student. But also simultaneously, it's about one of our characters named Bunny, and he gets murdered somehow or dies or is killed. I don't really know what happens to him yet. We don't know. It's split into 2 books. There's a prologue, and that's basically where we see Bunny dead, and then splits into 2 books. Book 1 is before and book 2 is the aftermath. So I'm very excited for this one. It's like a modern classic. This is sort of the book that started the dark academia genre, if you will. So I'm very, very excited because I love dark academia, and so it's really exciting for me to read sort of like the source material or like where ideas have come from. So I'm very excited about this one. The second one that I'm reading right now, and hopefully we'll be finishing soon, we will see, because I don't really know how that's all gonna happen, but I am currently listening to as an audiobook All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. Is that how you say his last name? Doerr? D-O-E-R-R. I started this book as an audiobook. This book also has extremely long chapters. The first chapter is the chapter that I'm currently on, and it is a 3-hour chapter. That's a really long chapter. This entire book is about 16 hours, but there's only 13 chapters. So it's extremely, extremely long. I have been wanting to read this book for a really long time because I know it's also on Netflix and it's been obviously adapted, but I've heard that it's really slow and kind of dense. And so I've always been so intimidated, and I want to finally give it a fair shot and give it a listen. I think listening to it as an audiobook will be best. This one is a historical fiction novel set in like the 40s or so. It kind of goes between timelines so far. It seems to go between 1934 and 1944. So I feel like I've been reading a lot of World War II historical fiction lately. That's totally by accident. Like I haven't done that on purpose at all, but it is interesting. So I have way less to say about that one because I think I was like 6% of the way through. Honestly, we've basically just been introduced to our characters, but I am going into the office tomorrow. So 1, I have a lot of listening time when I'm in the office, and 2, my drive to and from work in each direction is at least an hour. So I'll have a lot of listening time then too. too. So I'm hopeful that within the next day or so, I can read this one because it's due in 2 days to the library. I don't know why. I didn't think that one through, but I do have to listen to it within the next day or so, like I was saying. So anyway, those are the books that I'm currently reading, and then we'll see what number 3 is. Again, these two I just chose because I have been wanting to read them for a really long time. So I decided instead of using the spinner wheel to just like do something that I was really excited about, because I also don't want to put myself in a slump ever. That's never fun. So it is actually 9:45. I have to start getting ready for bed, and I think I'm going to get ready for bed, read, and we'll see about reading some more of All the Light We Cannot See tomorrow when we have our in-office day. Hello you guys. Wanted to give you an update because I've read a good little chunk of The Secret History. I am 76 pages into the book. I'm still in chapter 2, but I'm excited because tonight I just got home from work. He's playing with a toy. I apologize. You could probably hear that in the background, but I wanted to get a bunch of reading done tonight. So that's what our plans are for tonight. We're still in the space right now since we're super early on in this book where our main character is kind of just like setting up a lot of the dynamic between this little group of students who are all studying Greek together. So it's 6 of them all together. We are getting some interesting pieces from Bunny, who is the character that we know dies at the very beginning of the book. He is kind of an odd character. So I'm intrigued to learn more about him. He just seems a little bit off, and some people seem to say that they like him but then like treat him in a certain way. So I want to know like why he was chosen as the one who dies, or like why somebody chooses to kill him essentially. I don't know. I don't know if he's killed or if it's an accident. I don't know the situation yet, but I am very, very intrigued. I also wanted to give you guys an update on All the Light We Cannot See. I actually put it back on my little spinner on my phone because I was trying so hard to listen to the audiobook today, but I don't know if there's something with the audiobook or what. I just could not pay attention to it. So I think I want to give it a fair shot by actually reading it, and the audiobook is due soon in like I think a day. So I just put it back on my spinner, and I think for now we're just going to read Secret History, and then we will spin for the next 2 books because originally I was gonna read Secret History and All the Light We Cannot See. So that's the update on that. Again, I want to read it soon. I want to actually like know what it's about. I feel like I wasn't giving it all of the attention that it deserved, and obviously it's won awards and things like that, so I know that it's going to be a great book, but I just need to give it the attention that it needs. So anyway, let's read this. I will give you guys all of the updates as they come. Alrighty, you guys, I am officially 150 pages into this book, and I think this is the part where it's going to start picking up. This book is a little bit slow, and I think it's classified as like a dark academia thriller, but I wouldn't say that it's a thriller in the sense that other thrillers are, where they're usually very fast-paced. This one's definitely a slower read. If you guys are planning on reading this or are reading it actually at the same time as me, and that's how you found this video, I would say around just after winter break is where I currently am, and that's where it feels like it's starting to pick up. That being said, I don't want to say that the first 150 pages are just something that you have to like slog through, because I am intrigued and I'm learning so much about the characters. I just feel like I'm getting so much setup, but it doesn't feel like a negative. I'm actually like very much enjoying this book. I feel like every time I put it down, I'm just thinking about it and I want to continue reading. Despite the pages being like tiny font and the whole thing, I'm really enjoying it. And it's kind of fun because I was on my walk this morning with P, and I talked to a few different people who are walking in my neighborhood about this book, which was very fun. It seems like there are more people who have read this book when I'm just like out and about walking. I typically take my book with me on my walks with P just because I love reading, and it was just really fun to talk with them about it. So anyway, that is currently where I'm at. I did have a few notes to update you guys on as well. The first one was just that I kind of feel like Alex Michaelides maybe takes inspiration from a book like this. I don't actually know that to be a fact, but it feels like the amount of Greek knowledge or like Greek mythology that he adds into his books seems to be kind of what is happening with this book as well, where these students are specifically studying Greek. And I think that Alex Michaelides just also has an interest himself in Greek mythology and the whole thing, but it's interesting to again, kind of read the source material, if you will, of like a dark academia book, because this one sort of in a weird way reminds me of The Maidens. And that's what I was kind of saying at the beginning of this video, where like I've been intimidated by this book, but I'm excited because I know that so many other books take inspiration from this. I also think it's fun that I just recently read Bunny, because I don't actually know if there's any similarities or inspiration taken from this book for the book Bunny, but I really feel like there has to be. I was trying to Google and find more information about the similarities, but there's literally nothing that I could find on it. But one of our main characters and the one who dies, his name is Bunny. This is a lot of talk about academia and just like the cultish behaviors that higher education can have. And that was the whole conversation that the book Bunny was talking about as well. So very interesting that there are these similarities. Again, I don't know if it's just like these small inspirations or if I'm just like reading into certain things that don't actually exist, or like similarities that don't exist, but it really feels like it's more than just a coincidence. The last thing that I'll say about this is in the first 150 pages or so, basically our main character, Richard, he is really trying to insert himself into this friend group. There are these people who are all studying Greek, and there's 5 of them total, and only 5 students at a time get accepted into this program, but Richard is added as a 6th, and this is like the first time that a 6th is added. But the other 5 students, they kind of start to treat Richard almost like their child in a way, and this isn't like always the case, but it is interesting that there are times when he is finding that they're talking behind his back or like behind closed doors or whispering about something, and almost don't want him to like find things out. And that's what I mean by treating him like a child, is that like that's kind of how parents will treat their children, where like they don't necessarily need them to be in the know about everything that's going on in life. They just need to like be able to talk to the dad really fast or whatever. And so it's interesting that they're like kind of keeping him out of the loop, but in other ways it seems like he's more in the loop than other people. So I don't know, I'm a little confused, but in a good way. Like I'm confused in a good way. I am a little annoyed by some characters. I am intrigued by some characters. So I'm just honestly excited to keep reading and learning more about everything that's going on. And again, I really feel like things are about to pick up. I think I'm on chapter 3, but I'm almost on chapter 4. Oh no, I'm on chapter 4. I'm almost on chapter 5. So I'm further along than I thought. So anyway, those are the updates, and let's keep reading. I wanted to give you an update of The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I am just about 50% of the way through this book now, and I'm officially in book 2. So this book is split into like 2 parts. Book 2 starts on chapter 6, and I realized that despite this book being nearly 600 pages, there's only 9 chapters, which is kind of crazy. So right now we've learned a lot. Now we know why he dies, who kills him, what the situation is, like all of that. It's actually very interesting. It's kind of a weird, I can't really like explain to you guys without giving away any spoilers, but something happens and then that leads them to kind of like spiral into like, okay, now we have to kill this other person. And it almost reminds me of like effectively witnessing a crime. Like if somebody witnesses a crime, then like now you're in danger too. And like that's kind of the idea, except it's so much more complicated than that. It's very interesting. Like I don't know how this book does it, but for some reason it is like very dense and kind of slow and a little wordy, but I am like so into it and like so intrigued every single time I pick up this book. I just like want to know more and learn more, which is so weird because I feel like this is not typical of like the types of books that I would normally want to read. It weirdly reminds me of I Who Have Never Known Men in the style in which it talks to you as a reader, because both of them are sort of like thrillers or suspense novels to some degree, but without it being suspenseful. Like the content is suspenseful, but the like pacing isn't. I don't know, it's very unique, and I really like this story in general. It's also very interesting to like understand where like dark academia books in general came from, or like where their inspiration came from and like who did it first and how it was done. So I'm very into it right now. I'm gonna keep reading. I think we're gonna have a little bit of a date night tonight, but I want to ideally finish this by the end of this weekend, hopefully, crossing my fingers, we'll see. And I'll update you as I learn more about the aftermath. I've read like 50 pages since I last talked to you guys, but we're officially in like the aftermath of everything that's going on. I'm currently on page 320 and I'm in chapter 6, which is one of the 100-page chapters. Right now, the book is kind of weirdly reminding me of like the concept of Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, in the sense that like our main characters cannot stop thinking about the murder and just thinking about the character who was murdered and wondering if they made the right decision, and just like, I mean, it's basically consuming them, which makes total sense. They're in the stage where this character has been missing for long enough that they're kind of like, if we don't mention to somebody that he's missing, people are going to think that we're being suspicious because he always hung out with us. So they're kind of deciding what to do, and like people are starting to take notice that this guy is just like gone. And at first people don't really care because he's kind of an annoying character, but then it gets to a point where it's like, wait, this is weird that somebody's just like vanished. So that's sort of where we're at. I don't know how it's going to all turn out, but I do feel like our characters are just like, their conscience is eating away at them. I do feel like in the second half of the book so far, again, I've only read 50 pages since I last checked in with you guys, but I do feel like it's getting a lot faster paced, which is good. I'm still liking it. I like it a lot, and I think that I'll be able to realistically finish it within the next couple of days because we have like some rainy cozy days where I'm just like really feeling like I want to read a lot. I feel like I have actually more plans this weekend than I normally do, but a lot of times when I have no plans and it's sunny out, I'm like, okay, I want to go walk around somewhere or go do something, and so I make up plans even though I don't have anything to do. And today I'm like giving myself, and probably tomorrow, I'm giving myself the opportunity to just like be lazy, be on the couch, be reading. So I feel like I'm getting more read right now, which is interesting. So let's keep reading, and I'm curious to see what happens with our characters because I really feel like there's so many possibilities at this stage in this book, and I want to know which direction they go in. Hello you guys, good morning. It is Sunday, the 16th of November. Please excuse if you could hear the heater running. I am so close to being done with this book. Well, am I so close? I have 200 pages left, and I really would love to get this done today. I think I can do it if I really put my mind to it, and since we don't have many plans today, I think today's the day. I also thought that there were 9 chapters for some reason. There's only 8, so that just means we have one more long chapter, but that's okay. Honestly, we're just really seeing a lot of the aftermath. I feel like this half of the book is way more tense than the first half, despite the first half having so much buildup. I just want to know like what happens to our characters, and right now we're just seeing like the immediate aftermath, and we're not seeing like the long-term aftermath yet. I do feel like that middle chunk, like right before book 2 starts and right after book 2 starts, is going to be probably the most interesting of this book, like the most tense. And I feel like as this book drops off and as like more time passes, it'll probably kind of feel like the first half, or like the first chunk of like the book, where it was like interesting and I wanted to read it, but it wasn't like not much was happening. I don't know, I'll report back either way. But I'm almost on chapter 7. I'm on chapter 6, page 363. We're gonna try to finish it today. There's only 8 chapters, so let's get to reading. Hello you guys, I am currently on page 462 of The Secret History, so we officially have just under 100 pages left. I mean, like, we are really making progress. We have this little tiny bit left, and I'm really hoping I can finish it by tonight. Honestly, the book is developing in an interesting way where it's just kind of talking about the aftermath, and like I was saying earlier, it kind of, in a weird way, reminds me of the story, I suppose, of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe, where they're kind of in their own heads about a lot of things and just like kind of trying to figure out how to live life because of everything that's happened. And it's very interesting to watch them live their life and like kind of piece together what they're okay with and what they're not okay with, and like what things eat at them and at what point it eats at them, I suppose. Something interesting though happened between 2 of our characters, and I can't really say what happened. It's 2 of the characters that are closely related in the friend group, and that's really all I can say. It was weird. It was very weird. Yeah. But I honestly like wasn't expecting it. I was like reading and I was like, mouth literally open because I didn't think that that was gonna happen. So that was interesting. I am going to just keep reading and hopefully get through the rest of this by tonight. I think I have probably maybe like 3 hours left to read based off of my reading speed. I've definitely been reading this book a little bit slower. So normally I read roughly 40 pages an hour. And I think with this book, I'm reading closer to like 30 an hour, mostly because the font is tiny. It's just like a little bit more dense. So I take more breaks, or I just like, my mind will wander and then I'll have to like reread a paragraph. But overall, that makes it sound like I'm not liking the book. I'm loving the book. I think it's fantastic. I definitely see why it's a modern classic. I feel like you definitely have to be in the right headspace for this one though. And I'm glad that I read it when I did, because I feel like if I would have tried to read this a year or two ago, I would not have liked this. But where I'm at with my reading journey, I think that this was really fun and just gives me so much insight into the genre in general, which I really, really enjoy. Let's see how it ends. I'll probably next check in with you guys when I'm finished with the book. Alrighty, you guys, I wanted to update you guys because last night I finished The Secret History and I'm giving it 5 stars. I did write a couple of notes down because I was like really deep into the reading and I didn't want to like pull out the camera every 2 seconds. So I wanted to give you all of the updates now. This was one of those books that like I couldn't shut up about while I was reading it. And I'm actually really glad that I read this so close to reading Bunny, because even though I cannot find anyone else talking about this online about how the inspiration for Bunny came from this, I really feel like it must have, because there's just so many similarities with the genre, the name, the like certain pieces of the book that it made me think of Bunny taking inspiration from The Secret History. So I thought that that was really interesting. This is classified as a thriller, but I really feel like it's more, not even really suspenseful. It is thrilling in the sense of there is murder involved, but it's not really thrilling in the way that you would think of a thriller. It's more like thinking about how it is that these people can do something to their friend and the way that they continue to live their lives. And it's so intriguing to watch. I like can't stop saying the same thing of, it really reminds me of the poem The Raven. Like that's basically sort of what this book feels like, with so much more detail. And it's kind of interesting because with that detail, you'll get so much information in like the first half of the book. It kind of feels at times like, okay, I don't think I needed to know all of this, but it's interesting and I'm glad that I know all of this information. But then in the second half of the book, all of those really tiny details that you felt like was the author just like being too wordy actually come together in a way that you're like, wait a second, is that why this happened? Or is that why, you know, I don't know, there's just like so many different little moments where you kind of have these small realizations, and if you don't pay attention, you'll miss them because they happen in like a sentence, but they're so important to the story too. So I really enjoy when authors do that, and I liked the way that it was executed because it just felt unimportant and wordy until it was important. I didn't realize how intense this book would get toward the end. I feel like the most thrilling part was like this little, like maybe the last 50 or so pages. I really enjoyed especially that, and it really got me thinking a lot. Like I was saying, the whole book in general got me thinking a lot about friendships and our perception of people, because there's one character who's perceived to be like one of the best friends, but he obviously like is involved in a murder. And then there's another girl who is perceived to be super annoying and like not really a good friend and those kinds of things, but she actually is a fantastic friend. Like she lets one of the characters borrow her car whenever he wants. If he's feeling depressed, she for months on end takes him out, goes to parties with him, takes him to dinners, things like that, so that he can get out of the house. So it's interesting to think about just like different dynamics and like what our perception of people is because of maybe things that we've been told or just like history with people, in comparison to like looking at who they are on like a blank sheet of paper and like actually thinking about them as a person. So I really liked the way that it challenged a lot of our thoughts on like who these people were. And in general, just the whole book felt very thought-provoking. So I really clearly loved this book. I do stand by, I had to be in the right headspace for this. I had to go into it knowing it was going to be a slower book, and I had to go into it just like accepting that. And I think that if I would have read it any other time, I don't know, I think I still would have enjoyed it, but I think going into it knowing that it was going to be a little slow was helpful because I was prepared for that. So just bear that in mind, but I did really enjoy it. So that's my review. I'm going to move on to the next book. I don't think I told you guys, I went to the library and I ended up picking All the Light We Cannot See up from the library because I wasn't prepared to actually buy it. One of you guys mentioned in the comments that you rated this one 1 star, and I do want to give it a fair shot because I don't think I really have from the audiobook. So I got it here. I also ended up getting it on my Kindle from my library as well because it was available there too. So I want to give this a shot, but I think I'm going to take a quick break from the 25 and 25 and read something else that's a little bit faster paced because this one was a slow paced book, and I hear that this one's also a slow paced book. This one's also, how many pages? 530. So they're almost the same length as well. So I kind of want to just read something a little faster paced before I jump into this one. So I'm gonna read something else and then I'm gonna get back to the 25 and 25. So next time you guys see me, we'll either be reading this or we'll spin the wheel. So anyway, I just wanted to preface that like I intended to read back to back to back all of these books, but I don't want to like put myself in any kind of reading slump. If you guys are curious, the book that I'm going to pick up is Lisa Jewell's Don't Let Him In. I haven't read this one yet, so I'm very excited. I actually don't know when this one was published. It was published in 2025, so it's her newest, I think. So this is gonna be what I read, but I'm not gonna include this in this vlog, just a heads up, because this vlog is just the 25 and 25. So next time I see you guys, we'll spin our wheel. Good morning, you guys. Today is December 13th. It's been a hot second since I've last talked to you on this vlog. I have been trying to read All the Light We Cannot See. I got almost 15% of the way through and I've been enjoying it, but it's so extremely slow that I keep not wanting to pick it up, and I'm putting myself in a reading slump. So last night, I'm gonna put the spinner wheel here. I was in bed when I did it and I just wanted to get a wheel spin and move on so that I could decide what to read. And I ended up getting A Man Called Ove, and I do have this one physically. I bought this one a while back on Better World Books. So if you don't already know, Better World Books is a used bookstore online. They have a mission that based on the number of books that are purchased, they plant trees, which is a really cool mission to have. But anyway, I bought this one on there and it looks practically brand new, but it used to be a library book, which is very interesting. I ended up starting it this morning. I am on chapter 3 now, very early on. Essentially, all that we know is that there's this really grumpy old man. His name is Ove. He just basically was told by his company that he has to retire. He's part of the older generation now, and they were like, you're gonna have so much fun being retired. And he's kind of just like, I didn't want to do it this way. And I have a feeling, because I've read the back of the book, that we're about to meet our other characters, who is just this like new family. They are from another country, I believe. I think he mentions that they're foreign, and they run into his mailbox with their U-Haul. I think they end up being friends, but he's a really, really grumpy old man. I've heard that this book is extremely heartwarming. I've seen people cry over this book, so I'm excited to read it. I think I have not picked it up literally all year because I want to say actually this was on like my January through March TBRs when I was like making TBRs, because I just kind of stopped making TBRs. But I haven't picked it up because I feel like I have to be in a very specific Frederick Bachman mood to read a Frederick Bachman book, and I just haven't really been in that mood lately. This one does not do the thing that the other books I've read have done so far, where basically the first few pages will like allude to what's going to happen, or straight up tell you, not even allude, just tell you what's going to happen, and then throughout the entirety of the book you figure out like how that thing has come to be. But in this one we're just starting from the beginning. It's interesting. I'm excited to read more, and yeah, we'll see what else goes on in this book. It's also turned into a movie. I think it's with Tom Hanks, but it's called A Man Called Ove, so maybe we'll watch it after as well if we really enjoy it. But I'm excited. I want to read this. Maybe we'll still get to All the Light We Cannot See, but I think I am gonna cross it off my 25 and 25 because at this point I do really feel like, similar to Good Omens in a past video, I feel like I really gave it a fair shot. I tried it as an audiobook, I tried it on my Kindle, I tried it as a physical book, and I just like cannot get into it for some reason. And it always like kind of feels painful with a book like that I know is going to be good, or like the story I'm sure will be great, but just like the reading experience has just not been there for me. And at this point I haven't read in over a week because of it, and reading is like one of my favorite hobbies. So I'm like, what do you mean I'm not reading? Like, that's weird. Hopefully this gets me out of my reading slump. So let's get to it and let's see what this book is all about, because I've been really anticipating reading this and I cannot believe that I waited literally an entire year to finally get to it. Okay, you guys, I just wanted to update you because it's been a second since I last talked to you guys about my book. I'm not super far in. I'm 7 chapters in on page 55 of this book. One thing that I want to say, because I don't think it mentions it on the back at all, but it kind of reminds me of The Wedding People. If you know what I'm talking about, I think you know what I'm talking about. But essentially right now where we're at is we're just getting some more setup of like who Ove is, but also like it's weird because I feel like this happens a lot with like different Frederick Bachman books where like nothing happens and everything happens at the same time. Like you literally just watch him go through his day-to-day, but that's enough for you to understand more information about who he is, why he is the way that he is, and all of that kind of information, which I think is extremely important to the book. It's officially gotten me to a point where I want to just pick it up, and I'm actually very excited to read, which is such a good feeling because I have been in a slump for so long. I'm glad I have something that's exciting me and that I want to read. I want to get into some more. I have like an hour before we head off to breakfast this morning, so I'm gonna read for a bit and then go to breakfast, and then we'll probably read some more when we come back. P just brought me his toy. Hi, sweetie. But maybe I'll play with P for a little bit and then I'll read. Anyway, that's the update, and I'll give you guys some more updates as the book continues. Good morning, you guys. It is Monday morning and I wanted to update you on the book that I've been reading, which is A Man Called Ove, and I am now officially on chapter 13, page 117. I feel like I'm really making progress with this book, which again has been such a good feeling. It's hard because I said this in the last clip, I believe, but I just feel like what's been going on in this book is just we're learning more and more about who Ove is. Hold on, let me actually move down here because the light is bad. Okay, hopefully you can see me better like this. I don't like closing the actual drapes, but whenever I film a clip, it's so backlit that you can barely see me. Anyway, we're basically just learning more and more. There's just so many instances where like at first you're just like, how can an old man be so frustrated with the world? And then you learn more and more about his story and what's happened in his life. And a lot of it honestly is sad. It's one of those books that kind of gives you perspective on your own life and makes you want to think inwardly a little bit about like the things that you care about, or I don't know, like your morals or the things that you stand for. And overall, like he's a very moral person, like a very by the book, this is how things should be, but the world is sort of changing around him, and in some instances things just like don't turn out in his favor because there are people in the world who can be mean effectively. Like that's just like either unfortunate circumstances happen or people are just mean to him for no reason, and so he kind of like turns into the bitter old man that he becomes. So I do like too that this book is kind of going between past and present. So like we're getting a lot of chapters that show you like what's going on right now, but then also you'll go back to like his childhood and who his father was, why he wanted to be like his father, and then I imagine it'll kind of like meet in the middle where the past kind of meets up with what the present time, like whatever's going on. Right now we're in a spot where we're kind of like learning about how he met his wife, and throughout these unfortunate circumstances that have occurred over his lifetime, it did lead him to certain good things like meeting his wife. Like if something never happened, then he would have never been on that one train at that one time and he would have never met his wife. I don't know, it's just more a story of like somebody's life and how they've carried themselves through their life and how they got to where they're at, and learning that like even when life kind of takes you down, you can keep trying to stand up and like you don't have to give up. Again, some of the pieces of this story are just like really sad, where he's like either talking about his wife or I don't know, just talking about certain circumstances that are out of his hands, and it makes it feel like these things are unfair toward him, but life is not fair. And I feel like in so many different ways he's gotten the short end of the stick. So yeah, I'm really liking it. Like I just feel like everything is flowing so well in this book, and as always I really like Frederick Bachman's writing too, so that helps, of course. I'm really enjoying it. So I'm gonna keep reading. I don't know what time it is actually, but I think I have at least 30 minutes before work starts, so I want to try to read as much as I can before then, and then we'll see what else happens, because right now he's kind of in the present timeline. He is trying to do something over and over again, but it's not working, and so he's seemingly getting like a little frustrated with it. But I think that in the long run it'll be good that that thing doesn't happen, which I don't want to give any spoilers of what that thing is, but yeah, I really feel for him, and I guess that's all I can really say about it. But I really like this book. Hello you guys, it has been, actually I don't remember the last time I updated you guys, but it's been a second and I'm now halfway through this book. I'm on chapter 19, page 171. I'm just past halfway through, but we're gonna call it halfway through. I think I'm just beyond the 50% mark. I'm loving this book so much. It's so cute and I'm so happy that I'm finally reading it, and I really feel like I'm reading it kind of at the right time. Just like so many things in life have been aligning with me reading this book, and I think that, yeah, it's just the right time. Right now, basically, we're kind of still just learning about Ove, and I think that's just basically what the whole book is going to be, is learning about him, understanding who he is, like, to his core. Because at the very beginning, you like kind of learn a little bit about Ove, but like throughout the past and present chapters, you start to learn more and more about why he is the way he is, and you kind of see his side in a lot of the stuff too, which is very interesting, because at first you're like, he doesn't need to be so mean, but then you're like, okay, well, if I was going through all these things too, I'd probably be a little bit bitter. I do like that. I feel like he's defrosting a little bit, and just seeing like little moments between him and his wife, or like him and his father-in-law, or him and his wife's cat, things like that. Like, just like these little moments are just so wholesome. In the present chapters, there's a character named Parvane, I think is how you say her name. He usually calls her the pregnant one, at least especially at the very beginning of the book, and I've noticed that slowly but surely he starts calling her, like in the chapters you get mostly like stream of consciousness from the main character. In his mind, he's calling her by her name, and then every now and then when he's irritated, he'll go back to calling her the pregnant one, but then he'll just more and more call her by her name. I just think that that's such a cool touch that I assume the author intended to do. I don't think that this is like at all a accident that he did this, but just the fact that he really thought through that this character is like slowly warming up to the other character is so fun. Overall, really loving it. I just feel like I want to learn more about him, and I feel like I really care about who Ove is. I'm gonna keep reading. I'm on my lunch break right now and I'm enjoying it, so hopefully we can read a good chunk within the next few days. Tomorrow is my last day at work for the next like 2+ weeks, so we'll for sure get some more reading done after tomorrow too, but hopefully we can finish this one soon. I am now on page 204. I don't remember what chapter I'm in. Chapter 23. This book, it keeps like, well, first of all, a lot of pieces of this book are just sad. The things that happen to these characters are sad, but they're told in a way by the author that just makes it feel like it still feels sad, but it feels like he's very matter of fact about the way that he talks about the different things that happen. Like, he doesn't make it overly emotional, but in a weird way that almost makes it more emotional, because you're like not expecting a really depressing thing to have happened. I really love seeing how Ove treats his wife and how he can be like so angry at the entire world, but this one woman is like the one for him, and like he'll always love her. And I really think that like he has that love for other people too, which I think we're slowly seeing with like his neighbors and stuff like that, especially because one of the neighbors has a 3-year-old kid, and I feel like especially that 3-year-old kid, she can kind of do no wrong in his eyes, but he doesn't like say that or show that necessarily. I'm loving this book so much. The chapters are short enough, and I feel like it's fast-paced enough where I am flying through it. It's not necessarily one of those books that I want to pick up every 2 seconds, or like, I don't know. I feel like once I pick it up, I could binge it, which I have been doing. I basically like gotten to this point via binges of reading, but I think that like it's interesting because it is a book where I will continue to think about the characters, but not in a way of like, you know, like with a mystery thriller, you're like, oh my god, I wonder what's happening. I need to know information. This one is more like, I wonder what Ove is up to, or like thinking about who Sonia is, or thinking about Parvane, or I don't know, it's just like I think about these characters, but I'm not like thinking about them in the sense of like, am I making sense? I hope so. Like, it's not, I don't feel the need to pick it up. It's more like how you would think about your friends. They feel like friends to me, which I've never really experienced as much in a book as with this one. I think I could probably finish this book today. Is that wild to say? It's currently 7:15 in the morning, and I have like 130 pages to go of this book, roughly. Actually, almost exactly. So maybe I could. We'll see. Hello you guys, I just finished A Man Called Ove. It made me literally sob. I probably look crazy, but oh my gosh, this book is so good. What I was expecting was not exactly what happened in this book. Like, I had kind of a prediction, and I guess in some ways I saw like it was kind of obvious what was going to happen, but in other ways it wasn't exactly right. Oh my god. This book, first of all, I cannot believe it's Fredrik Backman's debut novel, which obviously he's written books since this book was published. I think this was published in Sweden in 2012. I watched half of the movie and I paused it because I think I got to like around where I was reading, but oh my god, this book is just, it's so like, it really hits you. It hits you in a way that makes you really care about your loved ones, but also hits you in a way that, like, I don't know, just everything about this book, the way that it ended was beautiful. So many pieces of it, there were just so many quotes about life and love, and I really honestly don't have many words. I loved just who Ove was and how he loved all of the characters and how he like became such a central piece of this neighborhood and like all of these people's lives, and how much he so deeply cared about the things that he cared about. Like, I feel like he was so misunderstood by so many people. This book was so beautiful. Clearly 5 stars. I really loved it. I love Fredrik Backman's writing. Wow, that was, I mean, I was literally like ugly crying on the couch just now next to Ryan, and he's playing a video game. Like, are you okay? New favorite. That was insane. I don't know how I will top that one for the rest of the year. I feel like I need to like decompress for a second. 5 stars. I don't know what book we're gonna read next in this video, but I just think I need a second to let this one soak in. Like, this was one of those that I think is gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. Good morning, you guys. It is the next day. It's Sunday, and I am going to re-pick up All the Light We Cannot See. I cannot remember if I mentioned this earlier, but I was like kind of going in and out of this book. I got 15% of the way through, mostly on the airplane that we took when we went to Austin. Surprisingly, like, when I'm picking this book up, it's good. I really like it. The chapters are really short, which is nice. I just feel like I don't have the inkling to want to pick it up. Like, there's nothing currently, even though really big things are happening, there's nothing that I'm like dying to know, which I think is kind of the problem with this book. I'm gonna go read. Yeah, just spend some time doing that, and we'll see what else happens in this book. Hello you guys, it is a bit later. It's like 7:45ish right now, and I was just reading All the Light We Cannot See. So earlier today you guys saw that I actually went over to the park with Ryan and P, which was really fun. Ryan had the idea of going over to the park so that we could read together, which I've been wanting to do for a little while, so that was a really fun time. And I've been trying really hard to read this book, but I think I'm sadly going to DNF it. I'm 145 pages in, and I just feel like I can't. I don't really know what it is about this book. I don't feel connected to the characters really, and I'm sure that at some point I would feel more connected to them, but at this stage, I'm 150 pages into the book and I'm like really struggling to care. I feel like something that's very interesting about just like books in general that are historical fiction, and especially World War II, because I felt this way about The Secret Messenger as well, which I read a couple of videos ago. I feel like sometimes what I feel like I'm missing in a historical fiction novel, or specifically like a World War II novel, is like something that's going on that makes me feel like we have maybe a timeline, or that there's like, I don't know, any kind of like rush to do something or reason why our characters feel a certain way while the things are going on in the war. So for example, like there are people that are being bombed and some of our characters have to literally move away from their homes and things like that. Like there are serious things happening because it's wartime. I just feel like they're using World War II to be that thing, where I've read other books, like for example with Kristen Hanna's The Nightingale, which is the same time period, but I feel like they like made you care so deeply about the characters, and they also made like something happening within the war. So like it wasn't just that war was happening, it was like something else specific to the characters was going on. And that's what like extra made you want to care and like made you want to learn more about what was going on. But with this book, I just feel like there's nothing that's like keeping me here with the characters. So unfortunately, I do think that I'm going to DNF this book, which is a bummer because I really wanted to get through it. I feel like this book honestly is part of what put me in a reading slump, but also I didn't really have a chance to read another book. So unfortunately, I won't be finishing my 25 and 25. I do have one book, Between Us by Vari McFarlane, which is on my 25 and 25 that I think I could probably get to, but it is almost 500 pages. So by the time it's the first, I'm not going to get to it, but that is my book club book. So no matter what, I'm going to read that one. All of the books that are on my 25 and 25 that I haven't gotten to yet, I want to read still, just to be clear. So anyway, a little bit of a bummer. And I also typically like to read at least a couple of books in videos like this, and I really only finished 2. Although again, I really tried with this one. I feel like I tried in literally every format. I think that I have to just put it down because I'm not enjoying myself anymore. So unfortunately, this is a DNF, which I think we could have all seen coming. It is what it is. Anyway, that is all I have for you guys today. So thank you guys so much for being here and watching. I'm sorry that it ended on kind of like a low note with me like just not finishing a book. But also like again, it's literally at the time of filming this, what is today's date? It's December 29th. I don't think that I would be able to realistically finish another book with all of the other things that we have going on. Like I want to finish my class before the new year, and also we have plans for New Year's Eve day. There's not really a way for me to be able to finish a whole nother book. So sorry for ending on a down note, but I do think that the 2 books that we got to in this video were some of my favorites of the entire year. So I am grateful that I did finally get to read those. Anyway, thank you guys again so much for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. I hope you guys have had a good reading month, a good reading year, and just like a good year and month in general. We're so close to the end of the holidays, which is so crazy. So I hope you guys have been really enjoying it. And that's all I have. So thank you again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.